Now, news that works for you. This is WGXA News.
He was gunned down in a drive-by in Bloomfield here in Macon.
The murder rate is on the rise right here in Macon. Hear from a man whose cousin was a victim of the statistic. Tonight on WGXA News at 10, how local leaders are working to keep your family safe.
From the water crisis in I'm Brittany Collins, working for you to find out how local stores are affected now.
And right now, several children are in the hospital after an accident in Macon. How investigators say it happened.
Well, it's a quiet night across the mid-state. A look at when rain returns to Middle Georgia coming up.
Well, our top story tonight on WGXA News at 10. We spoke to a man who lost a teenage member of his family from last year's high murder rate. WGXA's Eric Mock joins us now live in studio with that story. And Eric, almost every other category of crime is down between 2014 and 2015. Murder is not one of them.
That's right, Raymond. You know, we saw almost double the number of homicides last year than we did the year before. And now, for one man, those numbers mean a lot more than just statistics on a page. Bibb County saw 28 homicides in 2015. Terrence Pringle's teenage cousin was one of those victims.
Murder is ridiculous. There's so many kids. And I lost a cousin last year, actually, over supposedly gang violence, but it's just not much for the kids to do, and the easiest thing for them to do is get in trouble.
He says his cousin died in a drive-by shooting. She wasn't even the intended target. The Bibb County Sheriff's Office released the crime numbers for 2015. Rapes, robberies, assaults, and thefts are all down, and crime overall is down by 4% from last year. But we saw a 75% increase in homicides from 2014 to 2015. Bibb County Sheriff David Davis says many of these murders are hard to prevent because they happen in an instant.
Having a firearm in your hand is a recipe for disaster when you mix in impulsiveness, immaturity, disrespect for authority, and you mix that with a firearm, it can bring disastrous results.
Since many of these murders, including Pringle's cousin, happen when people settle their differences with guns, I asked Davis if stricter gun laws could make a difference with these types of crimes.
But even if we limited the firearms, there are so many out there now that everybody who wants one or desires a firearm, they can get one by some means or another.
Davis says he's doing something about the high murder rate. Deputies focus more on getting to know people in the community. He says investigators have even stopped violence before it happened because people they knew came forward with information. Still, Pringle says the community should do more to provide kids with activities to keep them out of trouble.
Idle mind. That's really what it boils to. You have nothing to do. You have so much that can run through your mind and have you thinking wild and thinking crazy and acting on that sometimes.
Now, Sheriff Davis reminds everyone to always keep your car and house locked when you're not there. Keep valuables out of sight in your car because it can just seconds for thieves to get in there and take your belongings. Live in studio, Eric Mock, news that works for you.
Thanks, Eric. New tonight, drug charges filed against a Bibb County Corrections deputy. The Bibb County Sheriff's Office says they arrested 27-year-old Andrea Bowman Thursday following a search of Bridgeview Inn and Suites in Macon. She's facing charges including possession of marijuana with intent to distribute. According to a release, a Bibb SWAT team served a search warrant yesterday afternoon at the Bridgeview Inn and Suites on Harrison Road. In addition to the deputy, investigators arrested 4 other people accused of planning to sell marijuana. Maurice Jones, Sharice Bunn, and Rodeco Jones, plus a 17-year-old whose name and mugshot we're not going to air. A Bibb County teacher, William Wright, turned himself into Bibb Sheriff's Office this morning after reports say he tackled a 14-year-old student, breaking his arm at Elam Alexander Academy back in January. Wright was booked into the Bibb LEC and later released on $11,200 bond. New tonight, a man is arrested and charged after trying to meet a teen for sex. According to the Jasper County Sheriff's Office, 35-year-old Paul Magnus of Evans was arrested in the Ingalls parking lot. Magnus is accused of driving to Jasper to meet a 14-year-old girl for sex. The girl was actually an undercover officer. Investigators also found a loaded gun in his car. New charges filed against the Atlanta man accused of intentionally leaving his toddler son to die in a hot SUV. In a new indictment filed today, they charge Justin Ross Harris with sexual exploitation of children and dissemination of harmful material to minors. Harris already faces multiple charges, including murder in the June 2014 death of his 22-month-old son, Cooper. Cobb County attorneys say advances in electronic forensic analysis and newly discovered victims led to the new indictment. His trial on the original charges begins next month.
Well, turning to weather, another beautiful Friday here in Middle Georgia. I'm with meteorologist Carrie Capella over in Storm Track Central, and it is a much different night compared to yesterday. Are we in the clear for the weekend?
Well, we're in the clear for tonight. We're in the clear for the weekend, but we do have some rain chances. We'll talk about those a little bit later on. Satellite radar tonight looks pretty good. It's quiet, so make sure you go and do so. Amir?
Thanks, Carrie. New tonight, Georgia State troopers say several kids are hurt following a collision in Twiggs County. Just after 7 o'clock tonight, our crew arrived on the scene of the accident on Highway 57 and Ridge Road. Sergeant Lee Waver tells us how the wreck happened.
Had a situation where a car was attempting to cross all lanes of Georgia 57 and failed to yield when traveling to the path of another vehicle. Although they failed to yield, the driver of that vehicle stated, as well as other witnesses stated, that the sunset to the west was directly in their eye.
Troopers tell us the children have non-life-threatening injuries. No charges have been filed in the accident so far. Well, new tonight, after 2 days of no water in Eatonton and then under a boil water advisory, the water is back in use. WGXA's Brittany Collins has been working on this story since the water outage on Wednesday.
She joins us now live in studio to tell you how grocery stores have been affected. Brittany.
I spent the afternoon in Piggly Wiggly in Eatonton, and though the water is back on normal again, some people say they are still buying water jugs to be safe. The store manager tells me on Wednesday during the water outage, their water out was empty within an hour.
Ricky, hand me a couple of cases of water, please.
Georgia Smith of Eatonton believes you can never have too many bottles of water.
I think I need one more. Yeah, to be safe.
As of Friday afternoon, the water is running normally. But she's planning to wait until Saturday afternoon to start using her tap water for cooking and cleaning.
Well, I guess I was in the medical field 34 years, and it's best to be safe than sorry.
She's not the only one stacking up on water.
And you'll probably get more water tomorrow?
Yes, ma'am.
David Jackson says boiling water for everyday use takes too long, and he'd rather drink bottled water for a few more days to be safe.
I got 4. I got 2 today, and I got 2 the other day for not taking the risk.
But if you keep going down the checkout line, you'll notice not everyone is as worried, and they don't have to be.
I live in the country, and I have a well. It has serviced me fine for 36 years. I hate it for everybody in town.
The schools opened back up on Friday, and most parents weren't scared to take their kids to school.
We were concerned that they might slip up and drink some of the water just by accident, but we thought that the school would probably take care of that.
On Wednesday, when the water outage happened, this whole aisle at Piggly Wiggly was empty within an hour.
I just noticed the people start grabbing the water and filling the buggy and going out of the store.
Now everything is back to normal. There is more water on the shelf for people to grab.
We will sell some more water than usual for a few more days.
And some people like Smith are happy just to say they feel prepared.
I always keep some water on hand in case of an emergency.
I've tried reaching out to the Eatonton Putnam Water and Sewer Authority Director about this issue, and I'm still waiting for a response. Live in the studio, Brittany Collins, news that works for you.
Well, one Georgia lawmaker pays a visit to a South Georgia military base, why he says that base is essential to defending our country. This as we learn just how big the price tag is on the impact Robins Air Force Base. That's coming up next on WGXA News at 10.
And another GOP debate in the books where the candidates did all but throw literal punches. Find out how one former frontrunner tried to bring the group together. But first, Luke Hetrick joins us with what's ahead in sports. Luke.
Hey guys, well, he's one of the best high school football players in the country, and he's finally getting to fulfill a lifelong dream playing at UGA. I'll explain coming up later in sports.
A statement from Robins Air Force Base confirms the base contributes $2.75 billion to the Georgia economy. The fiscal statement says the base paid more than $1 billion in salaries, the majority of which went to civilians working on the base. Military members accounted for just under $400 million of those dollars, while contract employees and other non-federal civilians claimed about $15 million. The base awarded $5 billion in contract money during the last fiscal year. $400 million of that went to Georgia firms. United States Senator Johnny Isakson visited Moody Air Force Base today, stressing the importance of protecting the base and the air support aircraft A-10 Thunderbolt.
The visit was part of a series of congressional meetings to show the role Georgia bases play in our national defense. Senator Isakson, along with Senator Bozeman and other delegates, got to see several of the base's capabilities, including the A-10, also known as Warthog.
Moody is a tremendous base in the Air Force, a tremendous part of our defense system. We want to see the A-10s, which are such great close air support aircraft.
Isakson has been fighting to keep the A-10s in commission. He said 18 months ago, the Secretary of the Air Force considered shutting down the A-10 program. Since then, Isakson and other senators have been promoting the aircraft's importance.
We could not be fighting in Afghanistan today. We could not have won in Iraq like we did. We couldn't be deploying where we are around the world without a close air support airplane. The A-10 can go as low as 800 feet and support our ground troops.
Another reason for his visit, letting other senators know what a crucial role Moody serves.
You know, there is no brag going on right now, but there's always a possibility for a base realignment and closing commission, and it's always important to be looking to the future to make sure the security of our bases in Georgia are real and there.
He said Moody is an important base in the Air Force game plan, and they can't afford to lose it.
President Obama reacting today to America's growing economy. New tonight, he says Republicans may be making doomsday claims about the economy, but as he sees it, America's pretty darn great right now. New numbers show 242,000 jobs were added last month, far better than the 172,000 jobs added in January. Economists predicted only a gain of 190,000 jobs last month. And the unemployment rate holding steady at 4.9%, an 8-year low, and a level many experts consider to be full employment.
But today, America's businesses are creating jobs at the fastest pace since the 1990s. America's workforce is growing at the fastest pace since the year 2000. It is showing the kind of strength and durability that makes America's economy right now the envy of the world.
Right now, the Federal Reserve wants to see wages grow around 3.5% after a disappointing rise of 2.2% in February.
Well, presidential politics hit a new low. That's what some are wondering after another debate where candidates fiercely attacked each other, schoolyard-like insults. New tonight, senior political reporter Scott Thuman explores whether or not the candidates can rise above the fray, or do they even want to?
Lion Ted. Breathe. You can do it.
You're the liar. You're the lying guy up here.
You ever heard of Trump steaks? You ever heard of Trump?
You know what? Don't worry about it, little Marco. I will.
All right, well, let's hear Big Don. Donald.
Don't worry about it, Don't worry about it, little Marco.
If it sometimes seems like insults over insight, it's not just you wondering, will it end?
And let's stop fighting.
There is some policy talk mixed in, of course, but the bickering, interrupting, and name-calling is one aspect. Ben Carson says he won't miss from the trail.
I mean, it's just so infantile. It's very disappointing to me.
He told us it's why before deciding to stop campaigning and skip the debate, he reached out to the others asking to meet and agree on a new, more civil approach. His campaign tells us none of the candidates responded.
I call it the Colosseum mentality in ancient Rome. You know, the society is crumbling around them, and everybody just wants to go to the Colosseum and see the lions tear people's heads off.
Yet while some seem to enjoy the mayhem,
I actually thought it was going to be tougher. I thought it would be more violent.
Others are trying to make money off of it. Hillary Clinton's team just sent out this email calling the debate a dumpster fire and asking for donations in order to help beat the eventual GOP nominee. In Washington, I'm Scott Thuman.
And he may have ended his presidential bid, but Dr. Ben Carson is still rallying voters. My Faith Votes named the retired neurosurgeon its national chairman on Friday. Carson will lead the group's call to Christians to vote on November 2nd. Well, building a wall on the border between Mexico and the U.S. is one issue that Donald Trump used to launch his campaign. And the reality of building that wall continues in the debates without a clear answer. The fact is, the wall began almost a decade ago after President George W. Bush signed the Secure Fence Act into law. One look and it's clear why securing the border is such a huge challenge. That border is 2,000 miles long and the fence is only an occasional boundary. In Arizona, there are areas where there are miles without a fence and where drug cartels are smuggling opium, heroin, and marijuana in large quantities into the U.S.
There's been a big question here on the border, who actually controls it? Is it the federal government or is it the cartels and transnational organizations?
Who is it?
I have to say it's a lot of cartels decide who comes across that border. And right now it's not for those looking for that better way of life. It's those actually come across to commit crimes and smuggle and victimize our citizens. I have a problem with that.
This week on Full Measure with Cheryl Atkinson, the team travels to the rugged and dangerous border between Arizona and Mexico and reports on the illegal traffic crossing into this country, as well as efforts to stop it. You can catch that special report right here on Fox 24 on Sunday at 10 a.m. Well, Secretary Clinton and Senator Bernie Sanders taking the night off from campaigning, but earlier they talked economics and trade to separate rallies. They did not agree on very much.
Ahead of primaries in the coming days, Hillary Clinton in Detroit spoke about her economic vision, including issues that are controversial in the Midwest.
When it comes to trade deals, here's my standard. I won't support any agreement unless it helps create good jobs and higher wages for American workers. I need to be able to look into the eyes of any hardworking American anywhere in our country and say this deal will help raise your income.
Yet at a big rally on the campus of Southern Illinois University, Senator Bernie Sanders provided a series of contrasts with Clinton on issues, including labeling her the outsourcer-in-chief on trade.
Secretary Clinton supported NAFTA. She supported permanent normal trade relations with China. Those agreements have cost us millions of jobs as a nation, hit the Midwest particularly hard. If elected president, trust me, we will have a new set of trade policies.
And then there's this video released by the Sanders campaign of Clinton appearing on an Indian television town hall in 2012 when she was Secretary of State, when she was asked about outsourcing of American jobs to India.
Well, you know, it's been going on for many years now, so it's like anything, it's, got pluses and minuses.
Meanwhile, a new study by the Tax Policy Center of Sanders' plan concludes it would raise taxes on virtually everyone, including low-income families. Those earning $142,000 or more would have taxes go up by $44,759. Middle-income households would see an increase of $4,692, and low-income earners would have taxes go up by $165. About that outsourcing video, the Clinton campaign is likely to counter with it being consistent with her view that trade can be a mixed bag. Sanders' campaign is expected to say it reveals an insensitivity to Americans in places like Michigan where jobs have been lost.
Well, we're starting to see more spring-like weather. In just 2 weeks from tonight, the Cherry Blossom Festival kicks into full gear. Later tonight at 10, how that whole idea came about by accident.
But first, Carrie Capello joins us from Storm Track Central. And Carrie, how long will these spring-like temperatures stick around?
Well, I know everybody's enjoying the beautiful day we had today, a beautiful night on top of us now for First Friday. Well, guess what? These conditions are going to continue right on through the next few days. We'll have to see in just a few minutes about next few nights. We do have high pressure in control of our weather tonight. It's keeping the nice stretch of weather through the weekend, but rain chances are heading our way. I'll let you know when you'll need your umbrella next.